The room smelled like antiseptic and silence. The kind of silence that doesn't heal, it suffocates. I opened my eyes to a ceiling light too bright for comfort, my body heavy, my throat dry. Somewhere near the door, two voices whispered. "Stage 3 kidney disease, he doesn't know yet," one of them said. I froze. My heart slammed against my chest. He doesn't know yet? Who were they talking about? And then, like a cruel echo, I heard my own name. My breath caught. I turned slowly, and there she was, Amelia, my wife, my doctor. Standing in her white coat, calm as ever. She noticed I was awake and smiled, that soft reassuring smile she always wore. "Hey, you're up," she said gently, walking over. "It was just dehydration, Ethan. Nothing serious." Nothing serious. Her hand brushed mine, but I couldn't feel warmth anymore, only the chill of betrayal. I looked into her eyes and saw something she had never shown me before, guilt. Right then, I knew. The woman I trusted with my life had been lying to me, and not a stranger, not a nurse, my wife. And that was the moment everything changed. Because love, once pure, became poisoned with secrets. And I swore, as I lay there pretending to sleep again. I would take everything from her, everything she loved, the way she took away my truth. You ever trust someone so deeply, that even when the truth is bleeding right in front of you, you still hope it's not real? That was me. Lying in that hospital bed, staring at the woman I thought I knew, my wife, my healer, my everything. If you've ever loved someone so much that you gave them your full trust, your heart, your health, your secrets, then you already know how it feels when that trust breaks. It doesn't shatter in one loud crash, it dies slowly, quietly, like a candle losing its flame. Tell me something, my friend. If you found out the person you love the most was hiding something that could take your life, would you forgive them? Or would you walk away forever? Write down pointing backhand index, drop your answer in the comments. Red heart # if this story touches you, hit the like button. Bell subscribe and stay with me till the end, because this story isn't just about betrayal. It's about the kind of love that's strong enough to destroy and still save. Trust me, what you think you know, you don't. There's a twist coming that will break your heart and make you question what love really means. Sometimes, love doesn't die when the truth is hidden. It fights. It bleeds. It sacrifices. So stay with me, because when I found out the truth, I didn't just lose my wife. I lost myself too. Before everything fell apart, we were that couple people looked at and smiled, the kind of love story that made others believe in forever. My name is Ethan Cole, 38 years old, born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. I grew up in a small apartment over my father's auto repair shop, where the smell of oil and burnt rubber was part of life. I wasn't rich, but I was happy. I worked hard, built my own construction company from nothing, and dreamed of one day building a family as strong as the foundations I laid for others. Then came Amelia. Dr. Amelia Cole, a nephrologist, a kidney specialist. The kind of woman who could walk into any room and silence it with grace. She was beautiful, brilliant, and composed, the kind of calm that made people feel safe. We lived in a quiet suburb outside Boston, in a 2-story white house with blue shutters and a maple tree in front. The kind of place where love felt real, mornings smelled like coffee, and evenings sounded like laughter. Before love, my world was simple. Work, home, sleep, repeat. I didn't have time for relationships, not after a rough breakup years ago. I believed love was a distraction, something that only made men weak. But then I met her, and everything changed. She wasn't just my wife. She was my miracle. The woman who stayed up waiting for me after long shifts. The woman who said, "You work too hard, Ethan. You forget your body is human." I'd laugh and tell her I was fine. She'd smile and shake her head. And I never realized how true her words would become. If only I had known then that the woman who'd one day save my life would first have to break it apart. It happened on one of those cold Boston mornings when the wind cuts through your jacket like a blade. I was working on a renovation site downtown, trying to meet a deadline. I remember climbing the scaffolding, my hands numb from the cold, and then, nothing. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in the emergency room. My head throbbed, and the world spun in slow motion. That's when I first saw her, Dr. Amelia Hayes, as she introduced herself back then. She was standing at the foot of my bed, clipboard in hand, her brown hair tucked neatly behind her ears. Her voice was calm but firm, the kind of tone that made you listen. "You passed out at work, Mr. Cole," she said. "You were lucky. A few minutes later, and you could have fallen off that scaffold." "Guess I should buy better coffee," I mumbled, half joking, half embarrassed. For a second, I thought she might smile, but she didn't. Instead, she looked right into my eyes, as if she could see past the sarcasm and straight into the mess I hid inside. "You should buy better habits," she replied. "Your blood pressure is sky high, and your body's telling you to slow down." That was the first time someone had ever said that to me without judgment, just honesty. She checked my pulse, made notes, and walked away. But before she left, she turned back and said, "Come for a follow-up in a week. And don't pretend you're fine, men, like you always do." That line stayed with me. A week later, I did go back. Not because I cared about my blood pressure, but because I wanted to see her again. She smiled this time, softer, warmer. We talked, not like doctor and patient, but like two people who'd accidentally crossed paths in a world that suddenly made sense. From there, it started small, coffee breaks after her shifts, short walks near the hospital parking lot, texts that turned into calls. She wasn't just smart, she was kind, real. The kind of woman who made you want to become a better man just by being near her. And I remember thinking that day, maybe falling off that scaffold wasn't an accident after all. Maybe it was life's strange way of making me fall for her. Love didn't hit us like lightning, it grew slowly, like sunlight breaking through clouds after a long storm. After that first follow-up, Amelia and I started seeing each other more often. At first, it was innocent, checkups, coffee, casual talks about work and life. But those small moments became the parts of my day I looked forward to the most. She had this calm way of speaking, like every word came with thought and care. I was rough around the edges. She once said I spoke like I was late for something, even when I wasn't. We balanced each other. When I finally gathered the courage to ask her out properly, I did it awkwardly, right there in the hospital parking lot, with rain starting to fall. She looked at me, surprised, then laughed. "You're asking a doctor out in the rain, Mr. Cole." I grinned. "Only because I know you'll save me if I catch a cold." She laughed again, and said yes. That first date was nothing fancy. A small diner on 4th Street, 2 cups of coffee, and a piece of pie we ended up sharing because I said I wasn't hungry, and she didn't believe me. From that night on, we became inseparable. She'd come home late from shifts, exhausted, and I'd wait up for her with takeout and bad jokes. We'd sit on the couch, her head on my shoulder, and talk about everything, her patients, my projects, our dreams. I bought her a silver bracelet one evening and told her it was the reminder that not all construction workers have dirty hands. She wore it every day after that. When she met my mother, I saw pride in her eyes. When I met hers, I saw approval, and maybe even envy. Because the way Amelia looked at me, it was clear she had chosen love over logic. A year later, I proposed by the Charles River, under a maple tree just starting to bloom. I told her I didn't want to live another day without hearing her heartbeat beside mine. She cried, and said yes again. Our wedding was small but perfect. Just family, close friends, and a promise. I looked at her walking down the aisle and thought, how did a woman like her end up with a man like me? We built a home, filled it with laughter, little arguments, and quiet nights. I thought we had everything. And maybe we did, until life decided to remind us that even the strongest love can be tested by the things we don't see coming. It started subtly, the kind of change you only notice when it's already too late. I used to wake up to the smell of coffee and Amelia humming in the kitchen. But soon, mornings turned quiet. She'd already be gone before I opened my eyes. Her side of the bed, cold. At first, I thought it was work. She often took long shifts at the hospital, and I was proud of her dedication. But even when she was home, she seemed distant. Her smiles felt forced, her eyes tired in ways no sleep could fix. Then came the fatigue, mine. I'd get home from work and collapse on the couch. Dizziness, constant thirst, aching joints. She told me it was stress. "Ethan," she'd say softly, pressing her stethoscope to my chest, "you just need rest. Promise me you'll slow down." And I believed her. Because why wouldn't I? She was my wife, my doctor, my safe place. But things kept getting worse. I started losing weight. My face looked pale, my body weak. Sometimes I'd wake up at night gasping for air, and she'd hold me until I calmed down, whispering things like, "You'll be fine. Just trust me." But trust started to feel heavy. One night, I came home early from a project. The house was dark except for a small light in her study. I pushed the door open quietly, and froze. She was sitting there, crying. In her hands was a file with my name on it. My name. I stepped closer. "Amelia." She looked up, startled. Wiped her tears quickly. "You're home early." "What's that?" I asked. "Just paperwork," she said too fast. Before I could reach for it, she closed the file, clutching it like it might burn. "Ethan, please. It's nothing you need to worry about." Something in her voice broke me. That was the first time my wife, the woman who shared everything with me, lied straight to my face. From then on, doubt became my shadow. Every smile, every touch felt rehearsed. She started avoiding conversations about my health, brushing off symptoms like they didn't matter. But the truth has a way of finding you. A few weeks later, I collapsed at work again. This time, they rushed me to the same hospital where she worked. And that's where I overheard it, two doctors outside my room whispering, "His kidney function's dropping fast. Stage 3. Does his wife know?" The words sliced through me like glass. My wife didn't just know. She'd been hiding it. That night, when she walked into my room smiling like everything was fine, I saw her differently. The woman I loved wasn't a stranger, she was a liar. And that's when love turned into something else. Something dark. The night I confronted her, it was raining hard, the kind of rain that drowns the world in noise but somehow makes silence feel louder. She was in the living room, still in her white coat, scrolling through her phone when I walked in. I didn't say a word at first. I just placed the hospital report on the table. Her face drained of color the second she saw it. "Stage 3 chronic kidney disease," I said, my voice breaking. "How long have you known?" She closed her eyes, her hands trembling. "Ethan, please." "How long?" I shouted this time. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Almost a year." For a moment, the world stopped moving. I just stood there, staring at the woman who'd vowed to love me in sickness and in health, the woman who decided which truths I was allowed to know. "A year?" I whispered. "You let me live every single day thinking I was fine, while you watched me get worse." Her tears fell freely now. "I didn't want to scare you. I wanted to protect you until I found a donor. I thought. You thought lying to me was love." I cut her off. "You let me walk around like a fool while you played God with my life." She stepped closer, but I moved back. Every breath felt heavy. The woman I once trusted with my life now felt like a stranger holding a knife behind her back. "I did it because I love you," she cried out. "You panic when you lose control. I wanted time to fix it, to save you. I didn't mean to hurt you, Ethan. Please believe me." But I couldn't. Not then. Love and betrayal are like fire and gasoline. Once they meet, nothing survives the explosion. That night, I packed my things in silence. She begged me to stay, to talk, to let her explain. But I couldn't even look at her. Before I walked out, I turned to her and said, "You took away my right to fight for my own life. Now, I'll take away everything you love, starting with me." Her knees gave out as I closed the door behind me. The sound of her sobs echoed through the rain, but I kept walking. For months, I disappeared, no calls, no messages. I buried myself in work, anger, and regret. Then, one morning, I got a call from the hospital. "Mr. Cole," the voice said softly, "you need to come in. It's about your wife." My heart froze. I went back to the place where everything began, the same hospital, the same hallways, but this time, the story was different. Because the woman I left behind had done something I never expected. She had given me her kidney. And now, she was fighting for her life. When I arrived at the hospital, the world around me blurred. Doctors moved in and out of rooms, machines beeped, and everything smelled of antiseptic and grief. A nurse recognized me and whispered, "She's in recovery, she donated her kidney to you." For a second, I couldn't breathe. I walked down the hall, my steps unsteady, my heart pounding in my chest. When I entered the room, I saw her, Amelia, pale and weak, lying on the hospital bed with tubes attached to her arms. Her once bright eyes were dim, yet when she saw me, she smiled, that same soft smile that used to melt everything inside me. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. I stepped closer, my throat tight. "Why, Amelia? Why didn't you tell me? Why would you do this?" Tears filled her eyes. "Because you wouldn't have let me. You would have said no. You always put everyone else before yourself, Ethan. I couldn't let you die when I had the power to save you. I felt my knees weaken. You gave me your kidney." She nodded faintly. "I didn't want forgiveness. I just wanted time to love you a little longer." I took her hand. It was cold, fragile. "You saved me by destroying yourself." She smiled again, faintly. "Then it's worth it." I wanted to tell her everything, that I still loved her, that I never stopped, that I would trade every breath she gave me if it meant she could live instead. But the words wouldn't come out. Only tears did. Days passed. I stayed by her side, watching her drift in and out of sleep. I prayed, begged, cursed, anything to keep her alive. But life doesn't always give you what you beg for. One night, the machines around her went quiet. The nurses rushed in, but I already knew. She was gone. In that silence, I realized what it meant when people say love doesn't die, it just changes form. She lived on inside me, literally. Every heartbeat, every breath I took, was because of her. At the funeral, I stood before her photo, holding the letter she left behind. It said, "I never meant to lie to you. I just wanted to give you life, even if it cost me mine. Forgive me, my love. Maybe in another life, I'll tell you the truth sooner." And that was when it hit me, I didn't just lose my wife. I lost the only person who ever loved me enough to die for me. Now, when people ask what happened between us, I just say, I took everything from her, and she still gave me her heart. I used to think love was about promises, about saying forever and meaning it. But now I know love isn't measured in years, or even in words. It's measured in sacrifice, in the choices we make when no one is watching. Amelia lied to me, yes. She kept a truth that was mine to know. But she also gave up everything she had to give me another chance at life. And that's something I'll never stop carrying, not just in my body, but in my soul. Sometimes, people hide the truth not because they want to deceive you, but because they're terrified of losing you. And sometimes, love looks like betrayal until you understand the reason behind it. If I could go back, I'd tell her I understand now. That love isn't perfect, it's messy, painful, and full of mistakes. But real love, the kind that survives storms and silence, is worth forgiving. Every time I hear the rain, I think of her. Every time I feel my heartbeat, I know part of her is still here, keeping me alive, loving me in the only way she could. So if you're listening to this and you love someone, tell them the truth, even when it hurts. Because honesty might break hearts, but silence can end them. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. It's not just a story about betrayal or sickness, it's about love, sacrifice, and the things we do for the people we can't live without. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you forgive someone who lied to protect you? Or would the lie hurt more than the reason behind it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might help someone who's living through their own silent heartbreak right now. If this story touched you, if it made you feel something, please tap the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in love that endures even through pain. Because sometimes, love doesn't end when someone leaves, it lingers in the heartbeats they gave us, in the lessons they left behind. And remember this. Tell the truth. Say, "I love you." Because you never know which moment might be your last chance to say it. Until next time. This is Ethan's story, but it could be anyone's. Don't just listen, feel it.